Hello buddy and welcome back to Red Devils TV. Now this is your Manchester United and Real Betis match reaction. And what a way that is to bounce back. Manchester United, we win 4-1. Pretty much the tie's over now. And I want to talk about some individual players. But first of all, I just want to talk about the first half. And the first half, for me, obviously, great start. Rashford scores in the first 6 minutes. United looked quite relentless. We created about 3 chances within the first 6 minutes. And then Rashford gets his goal. Brilliant take, by the way. Cuts in with a beautiful touch and just absolutely rifles it. Bravo is not saving that whatsoever. It was a brilliant way to start the game. But then, as we got that first goal, we seemed a bit too relaxed. We seemed that Real Betis weren't putting up much of a challenge, and we got punished for it. And we're going into half-time at 1-1, and it could have been 2-1 to Real Betis, and the game could have gone a complete different way. But I was confident Manchester United. I knew we'd come out swinging, especially in that second half, because it seems that the second half is when United actually come alive. We play a lot better in the second half. That's just my take on it. But Real Betis just didn't seem on our level. They played well, obviously, and that's their first loss in Europe this season. But come on, you're not Manchester United, and you just didn't look up to scratch. And for me, I just felt like it was a brilliant way to bounce back after that Liverpool horrific defeat last weekend. But we move forward, we focus on the next game, and let's, like obviously you're here for the match reaction for the Real Betis match, and all I can say is that there was some players who did seem off. I mean, I will talk about Wout Weghorst. I mean, he got his goal finally. You can see what it meant to him. He was absolutely, I wouldn't say he was absolutely brilliant, but I'd say that it was one of his better games that he's been in a Manchester United shirt. I mean, you've got to respect the work ethic. He's absolutely brilliant. You cannot knock his work ethic because he will run and run and run. He will carry on pressuring, and you can show it what it means to him, especially when he scored that goal. And I just think that we're just crediting players like Weghorst and crediting players like Antony, who are putting in average performances, but then when they get, I would say this is more aimed towards Antony than it is Weghorst, because Weghorst's work rate is brilliant. I think Antony's work rate needs to improve, and I feel like he needs to start running at players a lot more. I think he's still a very much one-trick pony. I mean, at least 4 or 5 chances this game for Antony. What did he do? Cut in on that left-hand side and then try and shoot and try and score in the far corner. Obviously, tonight that paid off and one of them chances did go in. But I think that's why he's not actually working out in the Premier League, because defenders know that he's going to do it. He's a very one-trick pony. As soon as Antony cuts on that left foot, he's not going to lay off a pass. He's not going to cut in on his right foot or anything like that. He's not going to cut in on his left and then switch to his right. He's always going to try and cut in on that left-hand side and curl it in. And for me, it's very frustrating because thankfully, we played against a weaker side in Real Betis tonight. But what if that was an Arsenal? What if that was a Juventus? What if that was a Roma? A player, not a player, but a team that can punish you. And for me, I just think that, you know, it could have gone worse tonight. Like, the chances that Antony and Weghorst and other players missed tonight could have really bit us in the arse if it was a different team. But obviously, that's if, buts and maybes. We're focused on Real Betis, and United are victorious for tonight. It's a great way to bounce back. And like I said, Weghorst, you saw what it meant to him, and I'm finally glad he's got his goal. Hopefully, this will increase his confidence and make him feel a bit more of a threat in goal and going up front, because I have been critical of Weghorst about how when he plays in that number 10 role, I think his build-up play is questionable because, yes, his pressuring is very good, but I think that he just loses the ball way too easy. I don't think his build-up play is as good. I think when he's laying off players and they're going on runs, I think that's when he's better, more like kind of like how Martial does when he plays for us, where he plays with his back to goal and then he can find a pass for the wingers or the midfielders driving forward. But I think as a number 10, actually helping up with link-up play, I think that's where he seems to struggle. But, you know, tonight it shows that when United create chances for our number 9, eventually it'll pay off, and that's what happened tonight. I can't remember how many chances United had tonight, but United were the more dominant threat, United were the better team, and I'm just glad we got this result, and it's a great way to erase that memory from Anfield, but we don't need to talk about that anymore. Bruno Fernandes, I felt was absolutely brilliant today. I felt like he was a bit missing in the first half, but when I say the first half, I'd say for the first 20 minutes or so, but then he got into the game. He seemed to be playing a lot better, and I think Erik ten Hag has learned that Antony doesn't track back enough. So when you saw a player like Dalot overlapping with Antony and going forward, you saw Bruno almost becoming a deep right-hand sided midfielder who was pretty much being a right back just to cover that position. Now, I understand that's been playing it safe, but for me, I think that that's down for Antony's job. If Dalot or Wan-Bissaka are overlapping with Antony, Antony either needs to run with him to give him support, or he needs to stay back in case the fullback loses the ball, and then the break and the right-hand side isn't then a free space. So I think that's something that Ten Hag needs to work on the training pitch, but I'm pretty sure that will be worked on very, very soon. But yeah, Bruno, actually, you know what? I'll just give my match ratings right now. So, David De Gea, I'm going to give a 6.52 because obviously he didn't get the clean sheet. Yes, he made a few saves, but his distribution tonight was absolutely shocking. There was about 4 or 5 chances where Real Betis could have really punished United from De Gea's misplacing passes. He didn't look very confident at all tonight, so I won't give him an average. I would say I'd just give him above an average, but I don't think he was good enough to be a 7 or an 8 or anything like that. So I'd just say he was just above an average, so I'll give him a 6.5 out of 10. Diego Dalot also gets a 6.5 because for some reason Diego Dalot's like the way he's misjudging the ball, the way that he just isn't, he doesn't seem up for it at all. And for Southampton, I will definitely be starting Wan-Bissaka because when Wan-Bissaka came on, I felt like that he just looked 10 times better. And, you know, Aaron Wan-Bissaka seems to be the better fullback at the moment. So you've got to be playing Wan-Bissaka because Erik ten Hag can't afford to be losing games. And especially if we want to just keep winning and see how good of a season we can make this. But Diego Dalot, for me, does get a 6.5 out of 10. I did think like he played better than average, but I just don't think it was as good as average, if that makes sense. So, yeah, for me, Diego Dalot gets a 6.5 out of 10. Varane and Martinez both get 7.5 out of 10s. Could be pushing 8s, but I would just say that they looked to their best tonight. That partnership looked really solid. They were confident, they were strong, they both knew their positions, Martinez being the sweeper and Varane being the more stay-back centre-back. But it was an absolutely brilliant performance today, and yeah, I'd give them both 7.5 out of 10s. Luke Shaw, I'm going to give a 6.52 as well. I did think that he was at fault for that first goal, because despite it being a handball or not, he should not be covering where De Gea was, because you've got Martinez, you've got Varane, you've got Casemiro already in the centre of the box. Luke Shaw should be out wide next to Perez and shutting down that shot. But what is it? He's literally holding hands with Martinez and the other defenders in the box, and Perez is open and gets a brilliant shot off. You can't take away the shot. It was a brilliant finish. But Luke Shaw should be out there marking Perez, and I think that I do blame Luke Shaw for that goal because we could have got a clean sheet. So, yeah, I don't know with Luke Shaw at the moment. Defensively as well, he looks quite worrying. Yes, going forward, he's good, but it reminds me of how he was at the start of the season, where he's getting too far forward, and by the time, and his defensive work rate isn't up to scratch at the moment. Going forward and creatively, he's brilliant, but right now, defensively, he does worry me. And I did say in my preview I would have rather started Malacia today because of a possible injury that Luke Shaw looked like he had. So maybe Malacia will play against Southampton, or maybe he'll play in the second leg. Hopefully he does play in the second leg, because that would give key players like Luke Shaw, despite whether, in my opinion, he's currently performing poor or not, it's good for resting and rotation. So definitely expect Malacia to play in the next few games. Casemiro, I felt in the first half, Casemiro looked a bit shaky. I mean, there was news that he has had a knock and he was not expected to play, but he did play. He played well, especially in that second half. But he was misjudging a few passes. He was not getting proper stuck in. But I think that's because he knows as well that if Casemiro gets another yellow card, then he's suspended for a European match. So I think that might have been the case, that why I wasn't getting stuck in as much. So I can accept that. So Casemiro for me gets a 7 out of 10. Fred, I'm also going to give a 7 out of 10 for. I felt like he played well, and it was just a very good performance from Fred. He played well, he was getting forward well, he was laying off the passes out wide, making plays to Bruno. I felt like he played well today, and yeah. Bruno Fernandes as well, for me, gets an 8.5 out of 10, and that is the highest rated a player gets tonight, and he's getting my man of the match. I felt like he was the best player on the pitch. He created the first goal for Rashford, he got the third goal from the corner, and it was just a good performance from Bruno, and you can't knock it. I felt like he was the best player on the pitch, but that's just my opinion. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below, and who is your man of the match for tonight. Antony, I felt like that he had an average performance, but then the goal boosts his rating up a little bit. So I am going to give him a 7. But I think if he doesn't score that goal, it's another average rate. It is another average performance from Antony. And I like Antony because the way he plays football, he brings balance to the squad. He brings balance to the formation and the tactics, because he's our only left-footed forward. And whether he's on the left-hand side or whether he's on the right-hand side, he brings that balance and helps out the team, whether he's playing average or not. And I think that Antony is going to develop well. I do think he was massively overpriced, and I do think he has some things he needs to work on with his game. I think he needs to start running defenders more. I think he needs to start actually using his right foot a bit. I think he needs to start dropping back and helping out the fullback, especially Dalot or Wan-Bissaka, a bit more. So he has got room to improve, but it is his first season in the Premier League, and so far you've got to say he is playing okay. So hopefully that he continues to develop and continues to perform better. Weghorst, much like Antony, gets a 7 out of 10 for me. I felt like the chances he had, he could have scored more, Weghorst, because he did get quite a few chances tonight, but he got his goal, and I felt like his work rate was absolutely brilliant. And for me, I just think you've got to give him a 7. I think it was a good performance, and I look forward to seeing him at weekend and see if he can score another, because hopefully that'll boost his confidence and he feels a lot better about himself. Marcus Rashford, for me, gets a 7.5 out of 10. I felt like that he was back to his best tonight. I mean, that rocket of a shot, bravo, no keeper's saving that. It was an absolute brilliant shot, and Rashford just absolutely looked here, and obviously the celebration came out tonight. Substitutions. I'm trying to think who came on. Obviously, we had Malacia. I'll give Malacia... You know what, Malacia actually looked alright. I'll give him a 6.5, which is above average, because I felt like for the time he had, he did okay. So yeah, Malacia for me gets a 6.5 out of 10. Wan-Bissaka, I felt like he was very, very good. I will give Wan-Bissaka a 7 out of 10. I felt like that he's starting to show that why he's the better fullback, why he's the more confident fullback. And defensively, he's always been better than Dalot, but now he's starting to work on his game going forward. I think Dalot's going to struggle for his place when Wan-Bissaka gets that chance and starts the game, because I think that Wan-Bissaka is just absolutely brilliant at the moment, and you can't deny that. McTominay, I didn't really notice McTominay too much. I'm going to give McTominay a 6, but that's not because he was bad. I think he just wasn't on the pitch long enough. But a player who wasn't on the pitch long enough, who had an instant impact, is Pellistri. And I want to talk about Pellistri because he reminds me so much of a Man City player or a Barcelona player. Now, the players I'm going to compare him to right now, yes, he's not on their level, but he reminds me of them players. The low sense of gravity, the way he plays, his dribbling's amazing, he's got speed, and he's just very technical. He reminds me of a Phil Foden or a David Silva, maybe even a Messi. Obviously, I know you might think that's outrageous, but I think with the low centre of gravity and the quick and agileness that he's got, I think Pellistri is a very good player and a player to look out for, especially in Manchester United. It's just unfortunate that the game time he's not getting is, like I've said, it's unfortunate, but there's competition for places, and I think that very soon he should be getting a shot, and I'd love to see him play in that second leg in Spain next week, because I think that that'll be a great chance for him to show him what he's capable of. Who else played? I'm trying to think. I think that's everyone. For some reason, Sancho. Can't forget Sancho. Yeah, Sancho for me. I mean, I didn't really notice too much of him. I will give him a 6.5. I noticed he had a few chances and he laid off a few passes. So yeah, I'll give Sancho a 6.5. And yeah, I think that's everyone off the top of my head. I'm really, there's always one player I forget every single week because they either came on for about 5 minutes and I don't remember him. But yeah, Erik ten Hag rating, I'll give him an 8, because for me, Erik ten Hag, it's the perfect way to bounce back. Obviously, he got a lot of criticism over the weekend. So the team got a lot of criticism, and the fact that Erik ten Hag boldly decided to choose the same team that got absolutely battered by Liverpool at Anfield, to use the same team, it made a point, and I'm really glad to see that Erik ten Hag did that tonight. But yeah, brilliant performance, and yeah, glory Manchester United. We go again. Southampton's at the weekend. I'm going to call an early score prediction, which is you're going to find out in the preview. So if you made it this far into the video, please remember to like, subscribe, comment and share. We're on the road to 600 subscribers. I think we're about 10 subscribers away. So please keep subscribing. And thank you for watching today's video, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.